Hey guys, it's Sierra. Welcome to Salem Wellness Portal. We are in this week, we are discussing heartbreak. I don't discuss these things on my channel. I tend to drift away from these types of pain and situations, but my father wound came up today, and then through my father wound I start thinking and diving into the type of men that I have brought into my life. And one thing that I do also notice with men that I have brought into my life are that they are not the best men. Obviously, they're not the best men, but also because who stems from the beginning is I have a father wound. But all day I've been thinking about men. And that was the topic this week. And the heartbreak that man has brought to me. And then I have essentially turned on myself because it stemmed from one person into several people into myself. And that's where I'm at now. Since we are doing the work on what needs to change in our lives, and this is my journey, so in my life, but if you are on your own journey, I'm hoping that you are getting the chance to ask yourself some of the questions that I have been able to ask myself. Sometimes I find the answers and sometimes I don't. Today is the heartbreak question. And how did I get the opinions of others to be my belief of myself? And it starts with my father. The last time I saw my biological father, I was 8 years old. I remember we lived in Brooklyn. He had brought me a Spice Girls bike. Oh my God. Like, I was obsessed with not only the Spice Girls, but I was obsessed with this bike. And that was the last time I remember seeing my father. I didn't spend a lot of time with him. It wasn't like ever a time when we would go out and have dinner, or a time when we would just sit and get to know each other. There was none of that in my childhood. It was him showing up to my mom's house. We lived in the projects in Brooklyn, and he showed up. And I would run downstairs and go. My mom would tell me, oh, your dad has this for you, whatever. And I would go downstairs, maybe with a brother or something, somebody watching over me. And I would run to his black car. And he had always have on a brown suit. So I knew he was always coming from work. But I knew, and the reason also too why I'm bringing up my father is because last night I was cleaning up. I was doing my hair and I was cleaning up after doing my hair. And I was listening to something. I don't know what I was listening to, but I think I was listening to a tarot reading. And in the reading, they said something that pertained to my situation, what I'm going through. And I said, wow, I'm more like my father than I am like my mother. And I've been ruminating on that thought, thinking, wait, I think I am more like my father than I am like my mother. And this could also explain why me and my mother really never got along growing up and into adulthood, is because am more like my father than I am like my mother. And there's some things in my personal life that I've discussed about me and my children and where we are right now on our journey. And I am in my father's predicament. And that is the reason why I said, wow, I'm more like repeating patterns with my father than I am repeating with my mom. But I'm repeating patterns from both sides of my family that I'm trying to break. And that's also part of this journey, is recognizing the patterns that I grew up on and now changing them. So my children and their children don't go through the same type of experience that I went through. And it really breaks my heart to see what's happening in my life, because, and I don't want to cry. I've been trying to cry all day. It's been wanting to come out since earlier, and I'm going to try not to, but it really breaks my heart seeing how much I'm striving to be this woman, this matriarch, this goddess, this girl, that girl, for not only for myself, but for my children and for my lineage. And it adds pressure in a way. And I think by the pressure being added, it makes things harder for me, because I feel like this is all on me. I have to give it my all. I have to do right by this. But also, it's not all on me. Yes, I can start something, but I don't have to be, I'm not the only conqueror. There are children behind me. There are children after them. There are children after me. There is a continuance of generations after me, that these little changes that I've been making in my life are taking huge effects on a global standpoint and generational standpoint, because even the little changes that I make every day by choosing to not be with a certain type of person, that changes the ripple effect of what happens later. So I'm trying to see it in that way. And me and my neighbor, her daughter, it's so funny because her daughter, she says her daughter floss, her daughter this, but she ends up with cavities. And I said, I don't know why that happens. Why does that happen to people who are overly doing everything? They're doing everything right. They're doing what they're supposed to. Why are they the ones to end up with the cavities? Why are they the ones to end up with the sucky side of things? And I think it's because we try too hard. And I am one of those people that end up with cavities. And if you keeping up with what I'm saying, I'm not talking about literal cavities, but I'm talking about life cavities. And when I look into life, when I open up my mouth, I see I am just faced with so much cavities, and I'm doing everything right, and I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to, but I keep continuing to be faced with these cavities. And it makes me reminisce, and it makes me think about, okay, when was the first time I've had a cavity? When was the first time that I get this cavity, that I have found out that there is something that is not meant to be here, that is ruining my teeth, that is ruining my spirit. And it starts with my father not receiving, always feeling like I'm supposed to work harder than I'm meant to receive love from a man. So I work harder around men. I show them that I am worthy of this love, that I am worthy of this love that they can give me, that I am worthy of this, that as long as I show them and continue to reveal this truth of myself to them, they are going to choose me, because I was never chosen from my father. So, but if I work hard enough, maybe I didn't work hard enough for him to do that. I didn't speak enough. I didn't acknowledge enough. I didn't cry enough. I didn't ask for enough. I didn't ask for more. And I noticed that is not how well, obviously, because it's never worked for me, that is not how I am meant to receive love. And anyway, today, the father wound just really stuck with me. It's something that I've been healing for a long time. I've been working on it for a long time. And me and my relationship with men are not great. And I feel like I'm too masculine for men. I am too aggressive, too bold, I am too assertive for them. And I've been trying to look at myself and say, okay, do I need to be this right now? Like, do I need to be this? And I'm trying to learn how to put more of a feminine approach onto myself and bring it in more into situations that I am in. I don't know what it is, but it's very hard for me to turn on. And it's so crazy because I could be submissive in many different ways, but when it comes to being submissive in this way, it's very hard for me. And I think I know that this stems from my father, because I grew up thinking that I cannot let men get that far with me. And there was incidents where I've let men get that far with me and they took advantage. And as time grew and as I got older, I noticed that I had to become more colder. I had to become more withdrawn. I had to become more of a masculine figure versus being a feminine woman and being able to accept being able to accept and receive, rather than I let myself play a role of taking on the masculine side of relationships with men. There are 3, and it's so crazy because my kid's father is not even a part of this category, but there are 3 significant people that I have reflected on, that I have looked deeper into. And the reason why I'm picking out these 3 significant people is because I've thought at one point that there could be futures here. With my kid's father, I knew that I could not have a future with him. I was already at a place in the relationship where I knew that this would not last, and I didn't want this to last. So while I chose goals that still, while I chose to go about playing house and, doing all of these different things with him, I knew that it was not going to last. And I already knew that this man is not my husband. We're not going to be together forever. I knew this at the time. Then getting into the next 3, I wouldn't call them relationships. I would just call them the next 3 significant people whom has brought me to realizing how much not only my father plays a role, but how much of I have played a role in the relationships and in my own heartbreak. And I love having the time to really reminisce, because one of the men in this category, I can reminisce and I can smile. I can smile and I can feel love. And even though it didn't turn out to be love, even though we didn't choose each other, or that preferably that person didn't choose me, I chose that person didn't choose me, they could not go forward with me. And that was okay with me. I was okay with that. It also confirmed that this person is not for me and that it's time for me to move on. So I was able to do that. And I can genuinely smile when thinking about this person, but I can also feel the sadness on the type of relationship that could have missed out on, which I want to say that this person has told me several times that I deserve better and that all of these things, but I think that person could have given me the relationship of my dreams as well. Next, coming on to the second person, which overlaps with the first person, but actually the second person came before the first person, but the second person, as I was building myself back, broke me once again. A lot of arguing, denials, a lot of games, a lot of sex, a lot of sadness, a lot of heartbreak. He broke me again after I was already broken and I was putting myself back. He broke me again, and it has been hard to put myself back since he broke me. I am getting there, but it was really hard. It was a toxic relationship. We didn't see no eye to eye. It was no compromise, no you viewing what I'm going through, or it was, he didn't understand my lifestyle. He didn't understand me at all. Like, I was foreign. I was very foreign. It was definitely, I wouldn't say, I feel like a part of him loved, and he probably would regret I don't even know. Like, one day, if any of these men are listening to this podcast and listening to what I'm saying, he would probably even regret it. But I think he loved me. I think a part of him loved me and he didn't know why. And that made him scared. And it made him freak out. And it made him self-sabotage. And it's the craziest thing, because the same way that this man treated me, I then go and treat a man that has never, a great a wonderful man, honestly, like wonderful. Didn't like the ghosting, didn't like the, can't speak up. Like, I don't like people who can't communicate, like, who can't, like, even if we have a confrontation, like, it's not like we're having like a full fist fight, we're just having a discussion, but, literally, like, he couldn't do like a couple of things, but he was a great man, a great person, wonderful person, appreciative. I thank him. I think I thanked him all the way up until I couldn't thank him anymore, until we stopped talking, because I wanted him to know how much of a influence he made on my life. But the same way that this person treated me, I went and treated the guy. And so these three has been three of the biggest contributors, collaborators in my heartbreak story, four including my dad. And I am learning to push past this, and I'm learning to really finally settle with this heartbreak. And I'm really happy that I am trying to get to the point of it, because it's needed for me to walk into this new direction I'm going in, and to walk into this new life and that I'm going in. And so a lot of things been coming up a lot. Every day, like I said in my last episode, I think about, who am I? What do I want to see in my life? Where do I want to see my life going? And heartbreak is just something that I want to put behind me. It will always be there. I will always have these feelings, because look, today is, we're in a different month, we're in a different year, and these things happened 2 years, 3 years, 4 years ago, and they still come up to this day when I am triggered. And finding a way to let them out, this is my way of letting them out. And I also let them out through my poems and my writing. But speaking takes a whole different turn, because for me, speaking is also me getting my power back from these men. So I am taking my power back from my father, who couldn't show up for me the way that I needed him to. But I am forgiving of that, which is so weird, because you're not as mad to the parent that wasn't there. You're more mad to the parent that was there. It's the weirdest thing. You're more upset with the parent that was there than the parent that wasn't there. And to the men that didn't, I don't want to say, we chose each other in all of us chose each other at some point. So I don't want to say to the men that didn't choose me, but it didn't work out. And I am learning more about men, and I'm also thinking to myself, like, it also makes me scared, because I'm scared to be with a man. I'm scared to give myself to another person that I've been disappointed since a little girl. So as I grow into a more of an adult, even a mature adult, it makes me more scared to give myself to another person. But what I've noticed about myself is how much I am willing to love. Like, at one person would have stopped. I didn't stop, I've had 3 people that I've really bonded with in the last 6 years of my life. And in some way, they all brought good things in my life. And in some way, the hardest thing that they did bring in my life was heartbreak. That's all I could say. But other than that, they've brung great things in my life because they brought a change that I didn't know I needed. They brought healing to a wound that was never meant for them to heal in a way, because by loving them made me know why I need to stop loving these types of men in my life. By seeing their attributes, my father attributes, and why it didn't really link up together, why it didn't fit for me, was because they had the same attributes as my father. I'm looking for my father in men, of course. But excuse me, I have finally been able to look for, and this is probably weird I'm going to say like this, but look for a different daddy in the men that I choose, and go down that road rather than the road of toxicity and hurtfulness and heartbreak. So that's what's been on my mind this week, and I'm still healing through some of the things, and this is just the beginning. I probably will make a part 2 to this to see how far we get, and this is just an opening of the father wound. And I also have a guidebook for anyone that is looking to heal their father wound. The link is in the description below. It's a guidebook that would help you get started on your healing journey and healing your father wound and being able to find the right man for you in your life and to meet the partner of your dreams that you deserve, and to be able to move up in life and to move forward, and from heartbreak and from disappointment, from people that couldn't stay, from people that couldn't choose you, and from people that said that you were maybe even too much. So the guidebook is going to help you go through all of those tough questions that we ask ourselves but we don't know how to answer. So if you are having a hard time dealing with your father wounds and you need a little guidance, I would definitely check out the description box below and click the link to check out the father wound shadow work guidebook. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.